information that the SEED program gets from the parents of the youngster, and you will be participating with Barry and Gary in the rehabilitation of your son.
I've seen it as the only alternative left to the administration of justice. Probation and jail don't work. We need a great constructive program. This is the great constructive program we have all been waiting for. I have total, complete faith, so much faith in the program, even with its small percentage of failure, that I rely solely and exclusively on my SEED counselor that I've assigned to my court. If he tells me the SEED wants a man, can help him, then I put him in SEED.
In a week or two, I'm not sure. Well, based on the representations of both my client and his parents, we would then at this time withdraw our plea of not guilty and enter a plea of guilty on the negotiations that Barry will be sentenced to 3 years probation, and a term of his probation will be that he successfully complete the program at SEED.
All right. Accordingly, then, the court will enter a finding of guilt, withhold adjudication. That means you're not getting a criminal record at this time, Barry. But among the term, and I'll place you on probation for 3 years, you are to successfully complete the SEED program. The rules of SEED are the rules of probation. You're to immediately begin the SEED program. And you will be in the custody of Mr. Underwood at this time, my counselor from the SEED assigned to this court. And thereafter, the regular rules of probation will apply to you as you are phased out of the SEED program. Let me tell you this, that I don't fool around, Karen. If you violate one of those rules, if you run out on SEED, and there may be a phase in your progress that you will want to burst out of there, because that happens once in a while. If you break the rules, you're going to break rules of probation. I'll put you in a state penitentiary. Case closed.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
May I say something? I feel that we, even though it's crushing to be arrested, I'm really thankful. We are the thankful parents because they've been arrested. They can now get help through the court's permission.
Judge Seppi was the first member of the day judiciary to believe in the SEED's powers, but others quickly followed his lead, so that the SEED now has a growing Dade population based upon judicial referrals. The difference between a possible jail sentence and probation at the SEED is the difference between a burly prison guard and someone like Mrs. Jerome Bryant, one of hundreds of foster parents throughout Broward County who have opened their homes and altered their lives to accommodate seedlings. On this particular day, Mrs. Bryant, remarkably, had 10 youngsters in her care in addition to her own children. The group, able for a change to do something other than sit around and rap, let it all out in a spontaneous play period.
Yay, bring me home. Randy, I want to see you in here on home plate. Got to talk to you for a minute.
Just because they're a heroin addict or that they've committed a crime, that's, I think, probably the whole thing about this is that basically they're good kids. I don't mind them coming into my home because they behave well when they're here. The old comers see that they behave well, and I honestly think they want to behave well themselves. They don't create any problems because of what they've done before they came into the city.
Homie! How many? My God, the boy swung. You're not afraid of them having any influence on your children?
No, they seem to have a good influence on my children. They have, my children enjoy, I think, having the boys here. And as I say, the boys are all well behaved at home, here around the house. And I think in a way they're helping my younger children.
Do you get attached to any of them?
Oh, yes. Yeah, certain ones. I guess it's bound to happen. You like them all, but I do become attached to specific ones.
Most of you had doubts when you walked in here and you signed that kid up. You didn't know what it was going to be like until you could come to an open meeting. And then you sit down here. Just sit through one meeting. You have to feel what's happening here. The love. You feel it. And as your child progresses and gets well, and you go through those various stages of watching the newcomer, the mean, resentful, nasty kid, the conning kid who winds up sitting up front, And you can't wait to come back to the next open meeting to see where he's sitting now, or she's sitting now, and how much that newcomer has progressed. And then you take the newcomer into your home, and at the end of a couple of weeks, most of the parents come to us. We're taking care of those kids, and they say, well, I think we got to keep this kid another week. And you know what it is? They fall in love with those newcomers, and they don't want to part with them. And we have to laugh, because we know how it feels.
Barker and his staff serve as a bridge between these parents, who came here in desperation, and these kids, who for the most part thought this was a prison when they first signed in. On this open meeting night, parents are allowed to talk with their children, but they must do so from across an open space. Mom and Dad, encouraged to come here twice a week, often sit right next to the foster parents who are caring for their child and never even know it. For many, it's the first time in years they have heard their children tell the truth or speak to them in a civil tongue. And for most, it's the beginning of understanding why their children are here. A thorough look at this portion of the SEED program right after this message.
I'd like to get straight, and I hope you all help me out. And right now I'm just confused, and I need your help bad. Thank you. I love you all.
My name is Linda Hogue. I'm 13. I've been here for 7 days. I smoke pot, I drank, and I sniffed.
So now I'm 15, and I've done everything from pot to heroin for about 2 to 2.5 years.
The open meeting is an emotional, pitiful, and terribly honest session. It is the backbone of Barker's success, because the trauma of public confession means not only a change in the child, but in the parent as well. For most, it's the beginning of a new communication.
I'm 15, done everything from pot to heroin, and on the outside, I've done everything. I convinced myself I was a loser, and I stole my parents' car. I had a wreck with it. I told my parents I had a job. I never had a job. I just walked around all night long, just stayed on the beach, just thinking, just stoned. And I convinced myself I was a loser. I was doing everything wrong. And when I came into the SEED, I found that I could be a winner. I could set goals. I could be happy, and I could have a lot of friends. I love you, Mom and Dad. Love your group.
My name's Debbie. I'm 15 years old. I've been here 6 days. I was sent by Judge Ferguson. And I've done everything from pot to heroin. And one thing I've learned and realized since I've been here is that my life is too beautiful to throw away, you know. I love you.
My name is Donna. I'm 15. I've been here for 6 days. I smoked pot, and hash, the THC, and I sniffed. And before I came to the seed, I never listened to anybody, and I didn't respect myself. And I realized that I took everybody for granted, and I learned a lot since I've been here. I really have. And I learned how I took my parents for granted, and I always thought they'd be there whenever I wanted them. And I realized that they're not going to be there all the time, and I have to learn to stand up by myself. And I learned to respect myself, and now I can respect others. And I learned to love myself. And I couldn't say I love you before and really mean it because I didn't love myself. And I really love myself now. And now I can say that I love everybody else. And I love you, Dad, and I love you, Mom. I love you.
I'm Kay. I'm 19. I've done everything from pot to acid for the last 6 years. And since I've been in here, I've learned to respect myself and to respect others, and I've learned to love, and that's something I could never do before. Thank you, and I love you all.
Seed for about 3.5 months. I've done everything from pot to cocaine for about 5 years. Before I came in the seed, or before I even started on drugs, like I was about 10 or 11 years old, I was breaking into houses and got picked up by the police about 3 or 4 times, you know, for breaking into houses. And I was stepping on my mom all the time, you know. I was a little kid, but, you know, she looked upon me a lot, you know, to do things around the house and just to take care of the family a lot, you know. And, you know, I just stepped on her so much, you know, just her little boy, you know. I really hurt her. So she did all she could, you know, to help me, but everything she did, you know, failed. She tried to commit suicide a few times because she couldn't take the agony and everything I was putting her through. You know, one night, you know, I remember that the most, you know, it really hurts. Like, she was sitting in her bedroom, and I came home pretty late one night, and I was doing acid, and I came into her room, and she was lying there, and she started screaming at me and asking me where I was. So I wouldn't tell her, you know, I just cussed her out and went in my room. I told her I hated her. And I sat in there for a while, and I started coming down, and I went back in there, you know, to tell her I was sorry. And she was just lying there, you know, with tranquilizers at the side of her bed. And I went crazy, you know. So I got an ambulance, and she came okay, you know. And then a few days later, I was back at the same thing, you know. It seemed like nothing could stop me. So one night, I got some downs in school, and I overdosed. And when my mother came home, she found me laying in my room. And the next morning, a detective from Lauder Hill Police Department talked to me and asked me to come to the... And so I said, 2 days till I... read a little bit together, and I started listening to what the people had to say here, you know. And I never thought, you know, in all my life that people could be as honest as these people are here. I love you all.
My name is Michelle. I'm 16. I've been here for 8 days. I've done everything from pot to acid, which is kind of mixed up because when I came in, I told Mary Lynn on my intake what I had done, not all of it, and then I told the group that I'd done more. And before, when I first came in, I never could have been able to stand up in front of this many people and say something like that and not have to worry about being accepted because I lied to them. I mean, I was always so, I could never do it to my friends. I was always so worried they were going to say, well, you lied to me and you're not really what you make out to be and you're no good, and they just wouldn't accept me. They'd tell me that they didn't want to be around me, and they'd put me down really bad. But I know that the group cares about me. I know my parents care about me. And I'm really sorry for how much I hurt you, Mom and Dad. All the things I did to you. And all the times I took you for granted. And I'm sorry, and I love everybody.
I thought I was going to calm my way through this program. I've done everything from pot to heroin, cocaine. I haven't done hallucinogenics and speed. But in the 4 days I've been here, I've seen it. All these kids, they tell the truth. And that's what you have to be. You have to be truthful with yourself. They can't help you unless you're not truthful with yourself. And the first 2 days, I didn't listen to them rap. And I started to listen. And I started hearing things that were part of me. I didn't want to hear them because they applied to me. And when you listen to these things and you apply them to yourself, they work. They make you believe. And I couldn't have gotten up here and talked in front of all you people. I'm nervous now, but I do it. Because I love these kids, and I know they love me. I know they're going to help me. I love you.
I started drinking when I was about 11 years old, and eventually I got into sniffing and smoking pot, hash, speed, and downs, MDA, and acid. By the time I was 14, I'd been to all the psychiatrists and counselors and priests and nuns, and one day I woke up and realized I was getting strung out on the downs. Tried to commit suicide 5 times. The first time when I was 12 years old. And right towards the end, I wound up in Coral Ridge Psychiatric Hospital for a few weeks. And this whole time, from the time I was like 11 years old, I couldn't stand myself. I hated myself. I couldn't see any reason whatsoever to like myself. Couldn't see anything there. I was very lonely, very, very lonely. I never thought that anybody felt the feelings that I felt or had anything that I had inside myself. And I was so insecure because, I don't know, just no matter where I went, who I was with, what I did, what I wore, how I fixed my hair, whatever it was, I still didn't fit in. Still wasn't accepted by anybody. I just had no place in this world because I didn't put myself in a place. I wasn't somebody to me. And when I was 14 and a half, my boyfriend almost died from an overdose. And his English teacher brought him in here, and it was when the sea was pretty small. And I came in a few days later, and it wasn't because I really wanted to get straight. It was just because I wasn't going to get to see him for 2 weeks. And about 3 days later, he left. And I had a pretty big decision to make. I had to decide whether I was going to give up all my friends, that's what you want to call it, and all my misery and my loneliness and my insecurities and all my old ways, all my conning, the whole bit, or whether I was going to stay here and grow up and become a human being, become somebody to me, learn how to love myself, to like myself. And thank God I made the right decision. I stayed here, and I've been here for almost 18 months. And if it wasn't for the love and the friendship and the understanding and all the things that they have here, all the things that we teach and we practice, I wouldn't be here. I'd be dead because I made that solemn promise to myself. The next time I wasn't going to Mickey Mouse around with any razor blades or anything. I was going to do a good job. And so I just thank God, you know, that the seed was here. Because now I have everything in the world to live for. I'm really happy. And I come down every day to try to help other kids find the same thing that I have. Because it's so beautiful, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. And I fight hard every single day. Every day for 18 months I fought to stay straight. And as far as I'm concerned right now, I'm going to keep fighting. And I love you all.
We born again. It's like being a baby and growing right back up again with all the beauty, all the love, all the happiness. Things that none of us really ever had out there. The kids, parents, none of us ever really had. And now we're getting it now. Like, I can just feel the love around me. I can feel it. I can feel it, you know? And I want people to feel the love that I got inside me. I really want that bad, because that's the only way I'm ever really going to be happy. And so I can just love with everything inside me. And that's what I want to do more than anything in this world. I want to help people. Now when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I wake up, what wakes me up, I think, I got to get up, I got to help somebody. I got to love somebody. because I want somebody to love me. And these people do. This is the greatest thing. This is the greatest thing in this world today. People trying to go to the moon and everything else. This is the greatest thing. This is the greatest thing right here in this world today. I love each and every one of you. I love you, and I mean it. I love you.